So I'm sharing a video that's already been on the WOW YouTube channel itself, and now I'm sharing it here to spread the love. Hope you enjoy it. Today we're talking heat embossing without a stamp, and I'm sharing 3 simple ways for you to try. Hey crafty people, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. If you like this video, then I would love it if you could give me a thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed, then please do hit that button. So I'll be playing with these gorgeous products from Pink Fresh Studios today, and I'm going to be adding lots of heat embossing on 2 cards, but I won't be embossing from a stamp. So first of all, I'm going to do a bit of ink blending. I haven't left all of that in because that's not what this video is about, but I just wanted to show you these amazing butterflies. They're so beautiful. So I'm using some turquoise, tealy colours with blue, and yeah, the stencils, you stencil 2 butterflies at the same time, and then there are stamps that you can use with them, or you don't have to use the stamps. So I stamped the outline onto these blue and teal butterflies, and then I also ink blended some orange and pinky ones as well, and I didn't add the outline on that, just to give 2 different looks. So we got like a cool and a warm. So once I had my beautiful butterflies all ink blended and stamped and dry and everything else, I fussy cut them because I don't have the die, and yeah, once I've fussy cut them, that's when the embossing can start. So I'm adding some anti-static powder to the butterflies because obviously I've been handling them quite a lot in fussy cutting them and things, so I just want to make sure that there's no fingerprints or anything on there to ruin my embossing. So the first technique is by using the WOW Embossing Pen. So it's a bit like a felt tip, and it contains the embossing ink, the ultra slow dry, so it works the same, and yeah, you just literally draw it or colour it on where you want it to go. So for the blue butterfly, I coloured in the body, and then I coloured in the darker bits on the tips of all of the wings, just to give it some beautiful sparkle. I added halo embossing glitter, which is gorgeous, and I went back over this as well, just to add even more glitter. So you can see, can you see that where it's melting? You see that it turns clear, and it's got like just beautiful, delicious, glittery goodness. So there's no colour in there, it's just going to add sparkle and shine over where we've already coloured. So awesome. So that is using the pen to colour in actual sections, colour the whole thing. So next I'm going to grab the warm toned butterfly. I'm adding the anti-static again, and this time I'm going to be using the pen to sort of get a much softer look. So I'm just flicking some ink, going from the base of the wings towards the tip. I do that on both sides, and then here where you've got the darker portions of the wings, rather than colouring all of that in, I am just going to trace the line where that joins, just to show you a couple, well no, like 3 different ways of using that pen. So I've coloured in a block space, I've outlined, and also I've sort of flicked the paint on, kind of like when you're using a brush marker. So, and I'm adding the same beautiful embossing, and this is going to give us a much softer look, which was what I was going for with this. This is why I didn't want to add the stamping either. So it's a much more softer and subtle look. So moving on to the next way, you can actually brush this ink on in the same way that you would add any ink. you know, with a brush, or if you prefer the foam blending tools, any of that, you can do exactly the same with this ink as you would a normal ink blending. So I've covered this frame with the ink using a brush. You do need to keep that separate. Like, I only use that brush for embossing. For the embossing ink, I don't use it for normal ink. So I've covered it with Ice Cream, which is one of the Fairground trio, and it's like an off-white, just beautiful. I just wanted to have just a slightly different tone on that. So that's I'm sort of skipping between the two. But in order to show you 3 different techniques, but a couple of different ways of using some of those techniques. So then I moved on and I have cut this cover plate, which is also Pink Fresh. All these things, the dies and stamps and that I use are Pink Fresh, but I can't remember what that one's called. It'll all be linked. So I just added a little bit of colour to it, just with the colour that was left on my brushes from when I did the butterflies themselves, just to give me a little bit of differentiation. And then in just the same way as I used what was left on the brushes when to add a little bit of pink and orange, I'm doing exactly the same with this brush and the embossing ink. So I haven't re-inked the brush at all. I'm just swiping it along the like diagonal lines, and it just adds a little bit of the glitter, and it's a much it's like more random, more, I remember what's the word that I'm thinking, rustic, is that, yeah, possibly. I don't know, but yeah, just to add it adds a little bit of the ink in different places, so that gives us just some random bits of glitter. So I used another cover plate die, which I'll have this all detailed on the blog, to create the background, and then I am adding our embossed frame onto that with some glue, and then I'm going to stick my beautiful butterfly on that little circle that I just added a little bit of ink to. So I've sort of folded my butterfly's wings because I want it to look like it's real. I wanted it to have some dimension, so you can see that there are like 4 or 5 layers of foam tape behind the tops of those wings, because yeah, I wanted it to really stick out. This is not really a card in that it's not postable in the slightest. It's definitely hand delivered, and I was thinking more that I might just frame it in a box frame, and give it to somebody like that. So I wanted to create a base for my other butterfly to sit on as well. So here is another way that you can use to add embossing. So I'm just smooshing that die cut oval straight onto the pad. You could do it the other way and smoosh the pad onto the oval, but I didn't want the mess and the added ink that I'd be wasting, so I just smooshed it straight onto the pad. And then I've added some mint macaron, I think it is. My days, I'm sorry. I've added some of that embossing again, it will be linked, just to give me a little light blue to go behind my butterfly, and I think that looks really, really cute. I've added the same sentiment to both, which is, I want to say embrace the moment. Yeah, I think that's it, embrace the moment. Oh my. Yeah, and I just think they're so cute. This one's got quite a lot of foam tape behind as well. And then I added some gems as well to give it a bit of bling. So those are my cards. I hope that you like the cards that we ended up with. I love them. I mean, I keep calling them cards, but they're really not. They're more like, I don't know, works of art. That sounds so ridiculous and pompous. I just mean because they're not really mailable or wouldn't fit in an envelope. So I think I will be adding them to some box frames and possibly giving them as a gift. So I hope that you like them. I hope that you liked the different ways of adding embossing that I have. If you did, then please do give me a thumbs up. And if you aren't already subscribed, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I hope that you have a lovely, happy, safe, wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.